All right, guys, so like I mentioned earlier, we have to get rid of the root of the condition from where it's coming from before we can ever have clean air. And a lot of the methods of cleaning that we're currently using, they're dry methods of cleaning, okay? So what do you notice if you take a dry cloth and wipe your hand across a dusty surface? Yeah, you get a lot of it flying back up into the air. If you, Beth, are gonna go sweep your garage out, are you gonna keep the door open or are you gonna keep it closed?
I'm gonna open it.
Yeah,
course,
right? Because we know we're just stirring up a ton of dirt and dust, but we can't do that in our homes. Now, the most common tool that we use, guys, are our traditional vacuum cleaners. Now, did you know, Beth, that they outlawed the use of vacuums in restaurants back in 1973
No. Why?
during business hours?
Well, it's noisy.
It is noisy,
Yeah.
and I thought that was what the reason was too, but it's definitely not that. It's actually a health code violation to turn a vacuum on during business hours. So if you don't mind, will you grab your vacuum cleaner, and I'm gonna give you all the lovely tips on it.
Okay, cool.
Alright. So guys, first and foremost, I am not here to insult what you use to clean. I simply can't unknow what I know now about vacuum cleaners, and I'm here to share it with you. Because it really does not matter how much money we spend on a vacuum or how little we spend. They all have the same 4 components, and they all clog, pollute, and they stink. So Aurora, when I say vacuum smell, do you know what I'm referring to?
Stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It stinks. And what do we typically do with things that stink?
Well, sometimes we put
Get
some.
rid of it.
So you cover up smells,
Yes.
or if the meat stinks, what are you gonna do with
Take it
it?
in the garage or.
You're gonna get rid of it.
Because it's what happened with me with my Kirby. I was not able to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I was they didn't like the smell.
Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, we typically get rid of things that stink, but let the customer tell you that. Sidebar. All right. So every single vacuum cleaner, guys, it has an intake, a motor, a bag, or a filter. This one uses a series of filters, and then there's an exhaust on it because the air going in has to come back out. Otherwise, the machine would just blow up. Now, in order for vacuums to work, they have to have airflow moving through them. That's why all these filters have a bunch of tiny holes in them. Now, all this means, guys, is the more air that we're moving, the more dirt we can pick up. So we have dirty air that enters in down here at our intake. It passes up through this filthy canister where we store all the filth we're trying to get rid of in our home. The filter's then in place to catch the particles we're putting into the machine. If we remove the filters, it would simply be a snowblower just shooting stuff everywhere. And then the air blows back out that exhaust. So when the air comes out of the vacuum cleaner, would you say that air is clean or dirty, Beth?
It's probably dirty, right?
Yeah, you can tell by how it smells, right?
Yeah.
It's so filthy, and that's actually why they outlawed the use of vacuums in restaurants back in 1973 during business hours. What they found, guys, is the air coming out spreads so many germs and bacteria throughout our air. In just a thimble full of the dirt and dust that we put into this canister here, it contains 5 to 10 million germs and bacteria. And where that stench comes from, it's all these germs sitting over a hot motor, all right? And all they're doing, they're cooking, breaking down, multiplying, decaying, and shooting right out into that air for us to breathe. Good or bad deal, Beth?
Oh, that's a bad deal.
Yeah, that's a bad deal. Now, what's your favorite drink, Beth?
Water.
Yeah. Would you take your ice cold water, dump it through this filtration system, catch it down here, and then drink it?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, you wouldn't
No.
do that. Aurora, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I like soups.
Soup? Would you take your nice hot soup, shake it up in here, and then
No
take a
way.
bite after?
Oh, yucky.
Yeah, disgusting, right? Now, I know they're silly questions, guys, but we just don't think about some of these things, right? We wouldn't drink from it, we wouldn't eat from it, but what we do is we take the only thing free in our home, which is all this air that we breathe, and we pump it through the filthiest tool in our house, only to be left with extremely polluted air when we're done cleaning.
Oh.
Yikes. And then we've got our filters. So a couple problems with filters. First of all, there's holes in them. Okay, so the first problem is when you put dust and dirt that's smaller than those holes, where does it go?
It flies out.
Yeah,
Right?
right back out. And the second problem is when you put dirt and dust that's bigger than the holes, what happens to the filter?
Clogs.
And once it's clogged, Beth, how much airflow is moving through the machine?
No, there's none.
And then Aurora, how much dirt and dust do you think you're picking up?
Almost nothing.
Right.
Let's rotate it.
Yep.
From left to right.
Exactly. So, I hate to break it to you, but what we end up doing throughout a lot of our life when using these tools is we're just doing a whole lot of exercising, all right? We're moving dirt and dust around. We can't figure out why we can't get rid of it up here. It's because we cannot get rid of the root of the issue down here. And what do we typically do with things that are filthy and ineffective?
Get rid of
Get
it.
rid of
We
it.
get rid of it.
That's a commitment.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, love
That's
that.
like